Welcome to the channel, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you. Jennifer Niemela is the author of the new children's book, Adventures with Jessie Treasure Quest. I'm excited to talk about that and more with you today. Now, first off, let's talk about what made you become the writer that you are.
Crazy turn of events. It started with treasure hunts. My dad, when I was growing up, would always do treasure hunts for us, even for Christmas presents, leaving clues to go find something, one of our gifts. And unfortunately, he did pass away. Then I had kids of my own, and we were living in Alaska, and I was like, that'd be fun to do a treasure hunt with them the way that my dad did with me. And it kind of grew into huge treasure hunts where I leave rhyming clues to go find things like I once was tall, but now I'm small, short and round, stacked on the ground. And the kids would know, oh, the logs. And they would go check for the clues in the logs. And then when we got up, we moved back to Michigan, and I started to do really big ones, walking 2 to 3 miles with these treasure hunts and maps. And my husband was always, why don't you ever turn this into a book? All these rhyming clues. And then I eventually did. So he started it. He helped find the publisher and everything. And now I have a book.
So your dad had a huge hand in this, and I like that it's because of the childhood experience that he gave you that led to this. That is so wonderful.
Yeah, it's heartwarming. He's not here, but he's still with us. And now my kids get to experience the things he taught me.
Wow, that is so wonderful that you're handing that down to your children through this. Now, I just want us to get into a little deeper of a talk about reading in general, because these days there's clearly a widespread use of devices. Even toddlers are handed one to keep them busy, when back in our day, we were given books, or schools gave us reading challenges of reading a certain amount of books by the end of summer's break. I wonder if you remember that, because times really have changed in this area.
They unfortunately have. I'm lucky my kids go to a school where they very much focus on reading. They have a reading log that they got to do every night. But I don't see kids reading. And I see kids on phones and tablets. And even, unfortunately, I don't really care for Kindle. They're reading stuff. Everything is online. Everything is screen time. There's no actually holding a book, but there's something so precious about holding a book. Reading it to your children climbing in your lap. Oh, it's story time. Them fighting over who's going to turn that page and being excited to turn the page. Technology's been hard, unfortunately. Kids need to get outside. They don't read. They watch videos of TikTok and other people playing with toys, which I still don't understand, is you guys could be playing with those toys. Like, why do you want to watch somebody else do it?
Exactly. It's so different. Yeah, those channels where they're watching someone play with a toy, I'm like, what is going on here? What is going on?
I don't understand. I'm like, we have all these toys. Like, let's go play ourselves. So we kind of have banned technology quite a bit in our household. I don't agree with it. We have books. Actually, I'm looking at stacks of books right there. Is cake time to pick up the books and seeing children read, especially now that my older one is reading a lot more fluently. He reads, he picks up the books and reads it to my younger son. And it's heartwarming. There's just something about it.
Yeah, I like the implementation that you guys have taken, the initiative to maybe ban technology and just encourage reading. And actually, now that you're telling me that your son is actually improving in that area, there's talk right now of teachers in the US saying that their students don't really know how to read.
And I believe it. I see it out there. There's a lot of struggle. There's been so much emphasis on technology, and the technology, it reads it to you. The AI, it lets you know, oh, hey, this is what's in this book. So people are not actually reading the book, even cover to cover. They just don't read. They go off of cliff notes and, oh, hey, here's a summary of what happened. And again, then they're back on their phones. Let's look at videos. And I can't say enough about the phones. I don't agree with it. Unfortunately, that's what's pulling everybody's attention to where they're not actually reading, or they're not actually physically experiencing what's happening. They're watching other people experience, but they're not having that experience themselves.
You're right. It's almost like we were in a good space back when we were kids in the early 2000s, where we had a good balance of use of technology in class. And also not using technology, but going to books, really going into depth, studying what makes a book, the context, the themes. And it's so sad to hear that people are using technology as like a gateway, like a method of getting out of reading. It's actually kind of sad.
That's the truth though, is they use technology to get away with it. So then they're not reading. I was really shocked. The literacy rate is so low. I believe it's like 60%. It's extremely low. Reading at a third grade level or a fifth grade level in America. How that has come to be is beyond me, because we need to read for everything. And that's what I teach my kids. They do like video games. They get that half hour to an hour when they earn it. But on the video games, they have to read. And they're asking me, I'm like, this is why we need to learn to read. That is part of every part of your life, is reading something, whether it be reading a sign, reading some notes on something, reading about a book, reading about anything, is you have to be able to read. And it creates, reading in my mind is so much imagination and creativity, to where these days kids don't even know what it's like to be bored. When
Right.
my kids say they're bored, I'm like, you're bored? There's a million things to do. But I want you to be bored. Get outside and go make up something. Go explore the woods. Pick up that stick. It's now a sword. Let's have a sword fight.
Yes.
Getting kids to be kids again.
Yeah, getting kids to be kids again should be like a new initiative, because I hate to see the state that we're going to be in the future now because of the side effect of this. So I really like that you've made technology almost like a reward system. Read, a reward is technology, what you really want. So I like the method that you're using. Now I'm on to my next statement. There's listening parents right now with little kids. So let's get into how they can instill a reading habit in their children. I know you already said one thing, using it as a reward.
So for reading, we do story time, and I think story time is important for everybody, all families. It's bonding, it's getting together. They like to pick out the stories. We have some of the same books that we read over and over, but otherwise we have tons, and it's okay. You guys get to pick 3 to 5 books, however many you want, and we sit down and we read together, and it's exciting to them. And it's not just, I know, sorry, this is another touch point, but fictional books. It doesn't have to be reading to learn every time. You get those books that they use their imagination, that they're, oh, I wonder what this could be, because nobody reads the same book the same. We're all thinking something different. We're all using our own imagination of, oh, I wonder what that would be like. Oh, I wonder what this character's going to do. What kind of sword does he have? What tools is he using? What adventure are they going on? There's so much fun with reading. And when you do it as a family, there's that much more. Is you're building that bonding for it. You're showing your kids, hey, reading is fun. And I believe in it, because now my kids are doing the same. My 8-year-old, or he just turned 9, but he loves to get his book, curl up in the bed and go read. He'll bring a little flashlight if it's dark, and it is heartwarming.
Yes, it is. I wonder if bedtime stories are still a thing nowadays. Do you still think people have those where parents read to their children before bed?
Unfortunately, no. I don't think it's a huge thing anymore. I like it, and I know there are some that do, and I wish it was every household. There's too much to obtain from it, between the bonding and the learning and the experiences and having that family time. These days, a lot of parents, both parents are working. They're
Yes.
out of the house. And then when you finally see your kids, it's okay, we got to clean, we got to make food, we got to eat. Oh, now it's bedtime. So they're not having quality time together anymore. We're living the rat race of, let's rush through and get all this stuff done, while not actually taking the time to experience it together.
Yeah, it's definitely a sad state, right? Now, I know that there's benefits to teaching children how to read that some people may not be aware of. So let's talk about that.
Benefits of reading, there's so many of them. It
Exactly.
instills creativity, it instills imagination, which now leads to problem solving. Okay, when you're using your imagination and creativity, you're looking at things from not just one point of view. You're starting to look at multiple points of view, which now that takes you through life. Creativity and problem solving, I believe, is it's something I have to do every day in my job. So to be able to take a step back and think about that, then it instills more fun. When you're creative, you're imaginative, you're having fun. It's a stress reliever. You're enjoying your time. There's lots of benefits to reading.
Yes. I like that you mentioned that it's a stress reliever. I actually read an article, or was it a video, where they stated that these days, because of our use of technology so much, we're actually more stressed than usual. And one of the things that they said we should do is pick up a book and read because it's a stress reducer. And when you see these videos of children like in stores throwing tantrums, you almost want to take a minute and say, okay, these devices are doing more harm than good. Maybe it's time we slow the kids down mentally, have them relax, you know?
It's too much stimulation with the technology. That's why we cut it back. I'm not going to lie. I fell into that line of, okay, let's just give the kid the phone. But I'm sorry, when my kids are on technology, you can see their mental state change. They're more aggressive, higher anxiety, their behaviors, they're not listening. Technology, I think, is hurting our children rather than helping. I understand there can be some, and have it limited to it, but then make them pick up that book. I don't want them reading a book online. It's just not the same. They're getting that screen time and then their mind's focused on something else. They're not really taking in what they're reading. When they have the book in their hand, I feel like they absorb it more. They're actually looking at it because it's in their hand. They're turning that page, they're looking at the pictures on there. It's a lot different than having that technology.
Yes, and having that book right in front of you, it actually, helps your eyes, because when you're reading a book on a screen, it is affecting your eyes. So it's better that you have that book and you grow your library. Yeah. I definitely do not want to see the world lose this like form, this art.
No.
Definitely not. Okay, so fictional books are known for creating a sense of imagination, which is beneficial to readers of any age, I assume.
Yes, very much so. It gets fictional books, there's excitement out of it. When it's always learning, yes, we've all had to read the books where we're learning about something historical. I'm going to say I never was interested in that. I'd get bored and that's telling me what I need to know, but my mind isn't going anywhere. Where you get a fictional book and now it's, oh, what kind of adventure are they going on? Or, ooh, what are they going to do here? And your mind starts creating your own imaginary world in your head. It's like when you read a book and you watch a movie of that book. It's a lot different. Like, whoa, that's not anything of what I was thinking was going to go on. That just changed my whole thought process. Yeah. So reading the book is so much more fun because now you have your own world that's going on.
Yes. It does create a sense of imagination. And I like that you touched upon how readers and fans of books sometimes are actually dismayed with how books that turn into movies are portrayed. They're like, that is so not how I picture this book to be, which goes to show how books do cultivate imagination, and which is necessary because, when you're online, it definitely does intertwine like the world. People from the West, can now like see what people on the other side of the world are thinking, and you do become tend to have like a one hive mind type of mentality. So imagination and creativity and being an individual is very much necessary in this time and period. And you know what I like about books? I read that it also does help the reader grow a sense of empathy because they become attached to these characters, and if they did not have a sense of empathy in their own life, these characters help them achieve it.
They do. They're looking at, when you read a book, it's not like, okay, yes, we know it's not real, but in our heads, we're creating it. It does feel real to us. And even seeing my 9-year-old reading a book, he had a tear in his eye. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, well, this character, this is what just happened to him. And you see that built up into them. They get attached to the characters. They talk to us about the characters while we're playing a different game. Like, oh, this is what he did. And then when we're outside playing in the woods, oh, this is the adventure they went on. It becomes real to us, just like a movie, like you get attached to it. But a book, there's something else, because now that character really has meaning. You created that character in your head. Yes, you're reading about it, but now you've created it and now you're bringing it forth like to other activities, and you feel that connection to them.
Definitely. And I think Jesus knew a lot about creating characters and how readers can empathize with them and learn morals from them. Because Jesus' entire ministry, he spoke in parables. That means he came up with stories of individuals that didn't even exist because he wanted us to draw lessons from it, which is why I love fictional books because they do the exact same thing. Okay.
That's so true.
Yes, there's different types of books out there. There's fiction that's made up stories, like I just mentioned, nonfiction that's factual and truthful works. So tell us why parents should let their children go for fictional books other than non-fictional books every single time.
Fictional books is fun. That's my big thing. If you want to get kids into reading, we can't just keep giving them, oh, here's what you're going to learn. Here's this, here's this. Fictional books gets that creativity, gets that imagination. I love reading fictional books. It is fun. It's using your mind and thinking about stuff in a different way and creating it yourself. Again, I go back to it. It's creating your own world in your head of what's going on in this book. You know what that character looks like to you. That's where it is hard going to movies, is because you have this, when you read a book, that character looks like this to you in your mind. And
Right.
The fictional is fun, and it instills that reading into kids.
Right.
Rather than lecture, lecture, lecture. Let's instill the funness so that they still want to read.
Right. Because I know picking up a book about like how to write good essays or a book on science and biology might be fun for some people. And yes, it's encouraged, because it's necessary in school when you're learning. But it doesn't give you that same type of excitement that you get from reading a fictional book,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a big difference being able to using your imagination it's different. It's a lot different, and it's fun, and it gets you into it. You get more involved. You have that empathy for these characters, where when it's nonfiction, it's, okay, I got that fact. Okay, I got that fact. I learned that, which is fun to learn. Don't get me wrong. And I do love learning, but having that imagination part and that creativity part of making it up yourself of what's going on. And we all take books different. Yes, there's, I guess there's lessons in every book, which you can take away. But the fiction, it's, you get to create it. You get to think of how you're absorbing it, of what did this character learn, and it's not every day, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do. I like fiction a lot more.
Definitely, me too. I enjoy both, but fiction is right up there. Okay, like I said at the beginning of this video, you did release a new children's book. I'm sure listeners would love to hear all about that right now.
I have. My book is Adventures with Jessie. This one is Treasure Quest. I left it open. I would like to write another one. I did actually have fun once I learned everything. So the first one was kind of like a very big learning experience. And Adventures with Jessie is actually a lot of what we talked about. It is, you're going on an adventure with a girl, and she's solving clues, but the reader, the children, are helping solve those clues and taking her through to find that final prize. Just like I do with my kids, it's our real life treasure hunts that we turn into a book. And it is fun. It's okay. The kids are involved in this. Where's this clue? Did you solve the clue? Can you find it? And as they go through, it's also teaching kids to get out and explore the outdoors. Actually, if I can read the last page, just so so there's an understanding. We found the treasure. What an adventure it's been, from camping to water and searching within. I couldn't have done it without your assistance. We sure traveled far and covered some distance. Remember to get out and explore the outdoors, for adventures await just out your front door. It's a big thing for me, is getting kids outside. And I think this book actually brings families together too. I hope it instills in the parents, like, I can make these clues. We can do our own little treasure hunt, and let's get out and play. And my big thing is get outside, read a book, take that adventurous knowledge, and go have fun with it outside. These days it's hard. I don't see kids outside, and it's really bad when I do. I'm like, oh, there's a kid. They're riding a bike. That's awesome. That should be every day, though. That's how it was when we grew up.
Exactly.
So Adventures with Jessie is, it's just a fun book to keep everybody entertained and still reading. And it uses rhymes. I love rhyming. I don't know why, but rhyming helps actually keep me into the book and remembering what's going on. And it's a fun children's book. I love it.
Thank you so much for sharing that excerpt with us. Now readers know what to expect in it. I love the fact that it is interactive, that kids get to, interact with the adults and the adults get to show them the outside world instead of just sticking them in front of a device. This is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, Jennifer, this conversation has been so eye-opening. Why don't you go ahead and tell viewers just where they can find your latest novel?
You can find it on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Google Books. Even just type into Google Adventures with Jessie Treasure Quest, and there's about 7 different websites. Otherwise, the main ones are Amazon and Barnes and Nobles.
Okay, guys, I'll have those links linked down below in the description box. Jennifer, you are more than welcome back on the channel. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay, guys, those book details, like I said, will be linked in the description box. I want to say thank you to you viewers as well for joining us. If you enjoyed today's conversation, go ahead and like, subscribe, it's free, share, and comment your thoughts down below. Jennifer, is there anywhere on social media that viewers can follow you?
I don't really do social media. I have Facebook, and that's about it.
All right, guys, if you want to keep in touch with Jennifer, you can just leave her a comment down below and give her a review of her book. Okay, guys, if you'd like to support this channel, you can do so with the information written on the screen. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.